So keyboards are obviously a very competitive segment in tech, and dominant brands like Corsair and Logitech do a really good job of making them. So when NZXT said that they were entering into the mechanical keyboard segment, I really didn't have high expectations, because even if they release something that is as good as the mainstream options, it is still difficult to make enough of an impact that would make people consider them. But this new release from NZXT has really surprised me, because their new function keyboards implement some really innovative ideas, and it is also priced very well for a modular keyboard. So let's check out how this compares to the brands with more experience. Inside the box, you get a link to the full manual, you get a wrist rest, we have a purple colored keycap remover, a purple key switch remover, and you can really remove the key switches with this with confidence. I absolutely love the clean design of NZXT function. The idea of using a white base with black keys is just genius, and this design just fits so perfectly in my black and white theme setup that I may get a little biased in this review. What we have here is its TKL version, but this is also available in an even smaller and a full-sized keyboard version. The wrist rest that you get with the function isn't padded, but the rubber sheet it has on it supports your wrists nicely, and the keyboard is quite comfortable to type on while using this, especially after adjusting its angle to your liking with the two sets of feet we have at its bottom. The white painted base is made of metal, so the keyboard feels very sturdy, and it really reflects the RGB lighting in a very nice way, so even though this is available in a black version, I really prefer it in this white color. To keep the footprint of the function small, NZXT placed the nicely rubberized volume wheel in a very unique orientation on the top left of the keyboard. This place is actually better for a volume wheel because you don't need to take your hand off your mouse to change volume, but instead of rolling smoothly, the wheel has some ratcheting mechanism inside that makes a clicking sound when you turn it. I would have preferred a free spinning wheel instead of this ratcheting thing, because Windows volume control requires a lot of turning of the wheel, but this does work fine. You'll also find 3 additional buttons on the left side of the keyboard, which is also a little unusual, but these buttons are used for infrequently used functions, so it's actually nice to have them on the side. Lastly, we have a very clean looking font on the ABS keycaps, and we also get some media controls on the top right. The biggest highlight on the function is of course its hot swappable key switches. It comes with some very nice tools for removing the keycap and the key switches, and you can just pull these switches out and then you can insert any MX compatible switch, which I think a lot of the 2-pin switches are. So you can of course customize any of these switches according to your liking, but the biggest advantage of a feature like this is that just in case one of your switches malfunctions or starts double typing, you can just swap it with one of the less commonly used keys like scroll lock, and that way you won't have to desolder anything or even buy new switches. So this will really make this keyboard last for very long, as you can of course easily replace the keycaps on these switches, and they are MX compatible with a standard layout in the bottom row. The Type-C braided cable on this keyboard is also detachable, so just in case something goes wrong, you can also replace it. By default, the function comes with Gateron red switches, which are also linear like Cherry MX Reds, and even though I think that the Gateron red switches are cheaper than Cherry MX, if you research, you will find that people actually like the Gateron switches more. It may surprise you, but the Gateron red switches feel a lot smoother than Cherry Reds, and I was also surprised about this when I compared it against my Cherry Red keyboard. The only slightly negative difference that one may feel coming from Cherry Reds is the actuation force on these switches is lower than the Cherry Reds, but personally for me this wasn't an issue and I got used to it in less than a day, and I think that I actually like these a little better than Cherry Reds. So the typing experience for me is really nice on this keyboard. In addition to being super smooth, these keys are also quite stable and the keycaps are nice too. So the keyboard feels very high quality to type on, and the gaming experience with the linear switches is also the best. Because of the lower actuation force, you may find yourself banging on the keys too hard, which makes the keyboard sound loud while typing, but you should be able to get used to typing more lightly on this. One thing that some people may not like is that this is only available in red linear switches for now, so there is no option of getting a clicky or tactile variant. I personally always go with linear switches even for typing, so I don't mind it, and you can of course just replace all of these switches with a clicky or tactile set if you really want them. If you are liking this video, you can give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe with bell because I have another video on a much cheaper TKL keyboard coming up. Coming to the software, the NZXT cam can be used to control this keyboard. The lighting can be customized with different effects per key, and you can set some really nice gradient effects with minimal effort, so I appreciate that. On top of this layer, you can also have different reactive effects, so the lighting effect situation is pretty complete here. You can also assign different functions and macros to these keys, and you can also change the function of different keys on a separate layer that gets activated when you press and hold the function key. All of these profiles can be stored on the onboard memory of the keyboard, where you have 4 slots available that can be activated with a key combo, so even without the software, you can use your profile with any computer. Lastly, the CAM software does seem to support auto switching of different profiles when you launch different games, but I wasn't able to find a way to make the keyboard activate different profiles by selecting a custom exe file, which can be very useful when you want to use this with different software. So the NZXT function is a really well thought out keyboard that has been executed almost perfectly, and I also like how smart NZXT has been with their choices of switches and other things. At price of around $129 for this TKL version, which is around 10,000 rupees, this is already a very good consideration if you're looking to buy a mechanical keyboard, because you are getting a hot swappable keyboard with amazing design, features and quality at a price where other mainstream brands are only offering non-hot swappable keyboards. And this also stands out from other keyboards with its cool design and the cleverly compact layout. So I'll have links to check this out in the video description. Let me know how good you think NZXT's entry is into the mechanical keyboard market. Thumbs up if you liked the video, subscribe with bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.